All right, we're going to get started with the City Council meeting for April 23rd, 2024. Can we have Deacon John Gabriel for the invocation, and then I'll do the flag salute. So please stand.
Well, before the start of our City Council meeting, let us bow our heads as we pray in the manner that we should always strive to live our lives. In the name of God the Father, God His Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Father, on behalf of all gathered here this evening, as well as all the citizens of this city, we thank you for all the blessings that you have bestowed on us, our families, and on this beautiful and wonderful city of Temecula. We pray, Lord, for our mayor and for our city council members and for all that are here in leadership positions, that you would send the Holy Spirit to guide them this evening as they go through the agenda that is set before them. Grant them a true sense of the needs of our city and of our people who live here, as well as a confidence in the ability to work together, that their discussions, their decisions, what they say and what they do will please you, Father, and will benefit us who live and work here and around our incredible city of Temecula. In your blessed name we pray. Amen.
All right, would you please join me in pledging to our flag of our great nation? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. So, could I have a roll call, please, Madam City Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Alexander?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Kalfas?
Here.
Councilmember Schwank?
Here.
Mayor Stewart?
Here. All right, so we have several presentations tonight, and we're going to start with the proclamation for Municipal Clerks Week.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'll go ahead and read the proclamation. And we do have our fantastic Deputy City Clerk, Erica Ramirez, here to go ahead and receive the proclamation from you. Whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at all levels, and whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas professional municipal clerks serve as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, and now therefore you, as Mayor James Stewart, on behalf of the City of Temecula, hereby proclaim the week of May 5th through May 11th, 2024, to be Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk staff and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities that they represent. And Mr. Mayor, thank you for providing this. For the Temecula Municipal Clerk's Office, we handle a variety of functions, everything from elections and legislative advocacy to records management, contract administration, and so much more. And so much of that is public as well, and the public and the community have an opportunity to see our office at work all the time. With that, I really want to take this time to go ahead and thank Lanny Craig, Georgianne Rausch, Naomi Frontella, and of course Erica Ramirez for all that they do for in the municipal clerk's office here in the city of Temecula.
So anybody who doesn't know, am I live? Okay. So anybody who doesn't know what the city clerk really does, literally ties everything up with a bow. So if a piece of paper has to be signed properly, it has to go through city clerk's office. Everything has to go through city clerk's office. So if it's on paper, it goes through their office. So they do a lot for the city of Temecula. So thank you, Miss Erica. And who's taking the photo? Oh, okay.
All right. Mayor Stewart, if I may.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, I want to thank the city clerk's office and the team. We heard a lot of what you do in the community, but I think the most important thing that you do is you manage our elections and make sure that they're free and they're fair. And the preservation of democracy, I think, is so important, not only to our community, but to our country. So we appreciate everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Schwenk. With that, we'll just go ahead and roll into the next proclamation, which it is National Public Works Week. So whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people in Temecula. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of the public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Temecula to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these services, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skills of the public works personnel. And whereas the year 2024 marks the 64th Annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association and Canadian Public Works Association. Now, therefore, you, Mayor James Stewart, on behalf of the City of Temecula, hereby proclaim the week of May 19th to the 25th, 2024, to be National Public Works Week, and their theme for this year is advancing the quality of life for all. And you urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and the Canadian Public Works Association to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. Congratulations to the Public Works Department and Public Works Director Pat Thomas. I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Randy. So to receive the proclamation for National Public Works Week this year, I'd like to call up Mario Munoz from our facilities maintenance team. So Mario has been with the city for over 30 years now, and he's retiring this year. So congratulations, Mario. Mario started with the city as a project custodian in 1994, and he currently holds the title of field supervisor in the facilities maintenance team. And Mario and his team in facilities maintenance, just one of the divisions of Public Works, maintain this beautiful city hall, maintain all of our other city facilities at an extremely high level, and we're grateful for employees like Mario in this department. So I'd like to have that proclamation presented to Mario, and he can receive it on behalf of all the Public Works employees.
Yeah, thank you.
When do you pull out?
June 27th.
June 27th. Wow. Okay. Say anything?
Mayor Stewart, if I may
would-
again. Thank you. I just wanted to say, much of what your team does in the field is so visible, right? Like from our freeway projects to, facilities team that's here tonight, you all are amazing. You hold our city together, and it is one of those more forward-facing departments because you're seeing projects come out of the ground. But it was nice to see Mario come here tonight and accept that. You're one of the best that's around, and it's going to be sad to see you go. So maybe you're going to have to stick around a while.
I
But I
know
just wanted to say how much I appreciate the Public Works team and all the folks here tonight representing Public Works. Thank you.
I was hoping that Mario would have stayed up there to have a few words to say to us this evening, but he kind of snuck off there. But I'd also like to, I know there's a lot of other folks from the Public Works Department here this evening, so I'd like to have everybody from Public Works stand up if we could.
I will say, when people come to visit Temecula, that's the one thing they do recognize right away is how beautiful the city is. And it's all due to you guys. You know, the maintenance that you guys do to our city is what makes it so beautiful. So thank you. All right, so we're off to a presentation of Care Solace by Anita Ward. So can you come? Hello.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, and this beautiful city of Temecula. You are absolutely right. I loved following that proclamation because I remember the first time coming here and just gasping at how beautiful it is, and not just these chambers, but the city. So thank you for having me tonight. I really appreciate the opportunity to share Care Solace, but in the interest of time, and maybe a little bit with your indulgence, I'm going to do that by sharing a story. By the time I was 15 years old, we had lived in about 20 different locations. I think I lost count at some point. And it wasn't because my dad was active military. It was because my dad was a veteran, and he struggled with trauma, and he struggled with substance abuse, alcohol abuse. And as a result, my mom, who was a young mom, she found herself hospitalized often with debilitating depression and anxiety, and really struggled. There are 4 kids, and we were essentially homeless. We lived on the floors and couches of friends and family, and sometimes lovely strangers who would take us in, and we lived in churches and very cheap motels, all piled in a room. And when we owned them, we lived in cars. So our norm was really quite different, but to the outside world, there wasn't a teacher, a police officer, a paramedic, a hospital discharge nurse who had any idea that there was anything like this going on in my family. As far as they knew, everything was fine. And I remember 6 months before my 16th birthday, Dad had this great idea and piled us all in a U-Haul and drove from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and parked at Las Vegas, at a rest stop. And that was because a rest stop had a bathroom. And that was the very first time that I felt like we had roots. We were in a U-Haul, a self-contained unit, had actual bathrooms, and our lives changed in Las Vegas. And they changed because my first employer, I walked across the desert to a McDonald's, leaned in and said, "There's something wrong. A 15-year-old should not want to be working night shifts and grabbing all the leftovers. There is something wrong." And because of his intervention and his recognition, and he made it feel like it was okay to say we have problems, he intervened and our lives changed. And I'm here today because of that man and that manager at McDonald's, so please all patronize the Golden Arches. But imagine if all of those teachers, if those first responders, if those police officers, if the hospital could have just said to my parents, "Here's a way to connect really easily with care. When you're ready, let us connect you with care. You can call a number 24/7, 365. They'll speak your language. They'll understand your cultural relevance. They'll understand the stigmas that you face because we didn't talk about this. We didn't even talk about it as a family." And they would navigate those 60 to 80 calls that it takes to, on average, find mental health care. And they'll navigate the insurance. In our case, we had no insurance. I'm not sure we even knew what it was. But they would say to you, "It's okay. We'll get you into care whether you have insurance or not. We will find you somebody. And oh, by the way, that housing insecurity, those food insecurities, your additional medical, we'll navigate all of that for you. We'll put you in care. We'll review everything with you, and we'll even book the appointment and make sure you have transportation to get there." That's what Care Solace does. And I feel like if that had existed, then it might not have taken 16 years for my family to find stability. So today, that's what I want to show you. We are, there are lots of Anitas, by the way, that face the same situation, that live in cars, that probably people in this room that you don't even know have food insecurities and mental health issues. The numbers are hugely compelling in California, but you're all leaders in this city. You know these numbers, and you know what it's taking, and you know the difficulties in accessing mental health care and providers, especially here in California. We have about 90,000 providers in California in our systems with access to them. And here in Riverside County, we have about 3,800. So we're easily making matches and easily getting people into care. But there's both a social cost and a financial cost to the city, and that's what we address. We're like a hub. We sit in the middle of a city, and we can connect everything to our care companions. So whether it is a community-based organization, your agencies, departments, your police officers when they're facing 5150s, the discharge nurse when they're trying to exit somebody into care, we connect all of those pieces and then amplify and scale our efforts throughout the city. So eligibility, availability, insurance, language, is this provider LGBTQ friendly? Are they faith-based? Whatever that individual needs, our care companions are navigating it and putting them into care. And we do that with dignity because, as you just heard with my story, really mental health is very much about dignity. So when a resident needs help, they don't know where to turn, what we do is we make it available in the city so that they can simply call us. They can scan a QR code and get directly to a care companion. They can go to a website and access a website that'll take them and give them access to all of the providers that we have in our network. So we make it quite easy. A department can even refer to us or can send somebody to us by simply typing the word refer on their phone. And our care companion will immediately call. So if you're a first responder and you recognize that this person probably doesn't need to be hospitalized, you've de-escalated the situation, you don't want to incarcerate them, which are really our only two choices, right, these days with mental health care. So instead, you simply ask the resident, do you want some help? I feel like you need help, and you talk them through that. And then the resident, when they're ready, will contact us. And if they're ready at that moment, then the first responder can simply say, here's the individual's phone number. Our care companion immediately calls while the officer is there. So there's a connection, there's a handoff of the case, and there's dignity in that process. And if they're not ready, then the officer has a little business card with a QR code on it and says, when you're ready, Anita, use this QR code, use this phone number, call for help. The city has made this available to you as a resident of Temecula. So we've made it very simple to access care. And then we navigate all of the rest of that. And we make sure that not only are we getting them into mental health care, but we're also taking advantage of all the wraparound services that they need. Mayor Stone I guess, is it not in here?
Marietta.
I'm hopeful that Mayor Stone's deck has come to you. So we are in the city of Marietta. I do actually have some of the numbers I can share with you, but she's made available and said I could share with all of you all of her data. And in the first few months of helping people in Marietta, we've helped about 700 people. This month, we've picked up another 150 people. We're getting them very quickly into care. In 4 days, we're getting them into appointments. So we've figured out how do we get people matched quickly, get them into care quickly, and there's loads of data that she's willing to share and willing to talk to you about. We're helping, I think there's a couple pieces that I would like to point out. We use no insurance and public insurance as kind of a proxy for income because we don't ask income. And in Marietta, more than half of the people that we're helping are on public insurance or no insurance. We're also looking very deeply at the numbers of people that are that are in advanced pathways, so we can look at every mental health category. And we've already helped 97 people through suicidal ideation, another 63 people through interventions, 21 people in hospitalization. So the data is fairly compelling in Marietta, But I'm hoping if you don't have this, please contact me, and I'm happy to share it, because we've looked at their data in Murrieta and compared it to the county in general, looking for things that are statistically significant. And in their case, their levels of suicidal ideation are statistically higher than anything both in the state of California and Riverside County. So the data starts to inform program and starts to inform policy and really gives some insight. So we're looking at that across ethnicity, across age groups, across zip codes, so that now we can start to narrow in using this data to better inform how you, as the leaders of the city, as leaders in Riverside County, can perhaps long-term influence more broadly how people get equitable access to care. So I very much appreciate this. If you have any questions or would like to know anything further, I'm here and would love to talk to Temecula. It's a beautiful city. So thank you for tonight. Are there any questions quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say, Anita, thank you so much, because I know you, I, and staff has sat down since last year talking about this, and I just absolutely love the organization. I love the program because we're seeing what's happening with Temecula Valley Unified School District utilizes this, Murrieta is utilizing it. Can you repeat one more time on the suicide phone calls? Because I think it increased since our last conversation last month, almost doubled.
Yeah, this is, and in fact, I don't even have all the March data in here, but it's 97 individuals that we have helped.
So 97 in how many months?
We launched about mid-December.
Mid-December. And I think last time you and I spoke, it was at 54,
Yeah.
if I'm correct. So I'm just seeing this as such a wonderful tool, because not only is this, people can access this throughout the entire city, but let's say you don't even live here and there's businesses here, organizations, there's nonprofits, whoever is here can access this.
Employers.
So, employers as well. And so I am just very grateful for all that you guys are doing. You're expanding, you're growing, and I just love the fact that if somebody doesn't have insurance as well, they're still able to gain access to these individuals for help, whether it's telemed or even access into beds to be able to get the help they're needing. So
Yeah.
thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. That's a really important point, Councilmember Alexander, because of those pathways, we call them advanced pathways. Almost half of what we're doing are getting people into sort of meds and beds, if you will, for lack of a better way to describe it. So even the most difficult cases, we're succeeding. We have about 20 million people that we support around the country, 930 communities, and here in Riverside County, I think we're already supporting over 1.5 million people. So I appreciate the time, appreciate everything. Thank you for tonight.
Thank you. All right, so now we're off to board and commission reports. So let's start with Planning Commission and Mr. Bob Hagel.
Thank you. Good evening. First off is Vice Chair Shirley Trejo was not at our meeting. She was unable to attend. We did have two public hearings, and the first, the Planning Commission reviewed a development plan for two commercial structures totaling approximately 4,414 square feet and related conditional use permits for drive-through lanes. The structures will be used for an Ono Hawaiian barbecue restaurant and a Better Buzz coffee shop at the former Claim Jumper site, which I'm sure you're probably all aware of, on Rancho California Road, right across from the duck pond. That site has been sitting empty for 10 years, 15 years, a long, long time. There were no public speakers on this item. The commission voted 4-0 to approve the application. The second item was the Planning Commission reviewed the Temecula Creek Community Wildfire Protection Plan, which is primarily focused south of Temecula Parkway, all along Temecula Creek, up a little bit, almost up to the Shell Station, and then down along Pechanga Parkway a ways. And that is considered probably our #1 fire hazard in the city. So the wildfire protection plan is very important. The long-range planning project was made possible by a grant from CAL FIRE. That was it was a strategic objective identified in the city's recently updated quality of master plan, which I'm sure you're going to hear a little bit more about this evening. There were no public speakers, and the commission voted 4-0 to adopt the project. And that's it for tonight. Thank you.
All right. No questions? All right. Now we go to the Ready Commission and Crystal Pastorian.
Thank you.
Our commission met just here about a week and a half or so ago, and we were able to celebrate the Arab American History Month, which was incredible. We did have a few clubs that attended, which is more than we had had prior. We're seeing definite increase in participation culturally within diversity across TVUSB in conjunction with what the city is doing, so that's really, really promising in terms of what the mission and initiative has been. We have further received our report with the census data from commissioner electors as well, and then we had a presentation, a video from Supervisor Chuck Washington with regard to the reading of the proclamation there as well. We further continued our conversation about future home ownership, which was amazing. We had some incredible data that was pulled from our school districts and our students who participated. We were very, very pleased in the number of students that participated in the survey. I believe that you all received that data as well. So definitely take a look at that. We were again, very shocked and amazed at what was coming out of that. We conducted the high-level discussion about the barriers in the next generation of community and the youth as they face attaining homeownership locally. And then we went ahead and started putting things and consolidating things into buckets of barriers. So education, advocacy, economic development, and partnerships. And we have already identified kind of our future steps in identifying other buckets and matching them with providers here locally. And we'll continue that discussion well into May as well and be able to provide that further information to you. Our next meeting is May 9th, as you can see, where we will be celebrating Asian American Pacific Islander Month and Jewish American Heritage Month as well. And of course, everyone is invited here in council chambers, and then we also have our cultural event that will be happening in May also. Concludes my report.
All right. Any questions? No? Yeah.
I just wanted to thank you guys so much for stepping out and just rolling up your sleeves the other day to get all that information with the students, and I'm really excited to see where this is going to lead. So thank you for your hard work.
Yeah, thank you very much for acknowledging that. It's been very informational for us as well, and just collecting that data is great to be able to present both to you and to the community as a whole.
We're excited. Thank you so much.
All right, public safety report. We have Captain Crater.
Chief Grader.
Chief Crater, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
council, and staff, and Temecula residents. For the month of March, your fire department ran 897 calls in the city limits. 16 of those were fires, 83 traffic collisions, and 629 medical emergencies. Year to date, we've ran 2,588 calls. And I always like to point this out. The city of Temecula is an ISO rating of 2. So thank you for the support, and we'll continue to improve on that. But that is really good. Plan checks, plan reviews. Our prevention department's been busy. I say that every meeting, but it is truly staggering, the numbers and the amount of work coming in. Plan checks and reviews, 505. Construction inspections, 627. Annual and state mandated inspections, 669, and we're on track to get done with all our state mandated inspections early. The staff truly puts a lot of effort into that, so we're not crammed at the end trying to get things done. And then 36 residents came in to do their business at City Hall. Next slide. Emergency management, we're continuing to work on a multitude of things. Our early warning notification system, city disaster debris management plan, and disaster preparedness guidelines for the city. Also, we're updating our early alert and warning plan, which hopefully that'll be done in the next month and a half. And also some pocket guides for the community to be able to kind of flip through and get information. Instead of it being online, it's something that's readily available and something that they could carry with them in case of disaster. Our TCC volunteer program is thriving. We have 38 members now. They had 3 meetings. You could see the amount of hours that they put in. Year to date, 1,236 hours, and that's only just in March. So they're out in the community, and they're doing excellent work, and they're educating other people as they do so. We did have one adult CERT class, and that was pretty well attended. And actually, out of that, we had 3 people apply to join the CERT team, and were accepted. A couple training, community training events here in the city was the adult CERT, and then Stop the Bleed, and in the summer is our busy time. So we'll be out doing plenty of HOAs and things in the community, and if you guys have any suggestions or there's a need in your districts, please let us know. Next slide. And yeah, here's a picture of the adult CERT class they put on, and we're talking Stop the Bleed, triage, basic stuff, you know, how to go into a building and make it safe, how to, you know, kind of stand up a response from the city side that aren't necessarily major emergencies. It gives us and allows us as a fire department to be able to respond to things that need our attention, where they could set up in a community or in a district and hand out water, hand out basic life support supplies, you know, Band-Aids, gauze, things of that nature. So a well-trained and prepared community is a safe community, and that's what we believe in emergency management. I want to talk to you guys. That completes my report out. Is there any questions on the fire department report out before I get into my next presentation?
No.
Okay. So a couple of years ago, the CRP money was set aside for first responders, and that was the fire department and the sheriff's department for mental health and to take care of our fire and law enforcement families. And that spawned into something I really didn't expect, but I had an idea on the fire department side for what if we could get our families together for one weekend a year here in Temecula and have the opportunity for us to come together and kind of heal ourselves. I think we've got away with that, away from that, you know, during COVID. It kind of messed us up for a bit, and you could see it in the fire stations, you could see it in the fire service. So we put together the Firehouse Family Retreat, where we could go to Pine Springs Ranch up in Idlewild and have that time together and have us connect instead of just on social media. Like, oh yeah, I've seen that person on Facebook. Well, now you could come to a retreat and actually meet them, have a conversation, meet new people, start to build the Firehouse family. We know if the family's good, work is good. That's very important. So hats off to the city of Temecula for being the first city to actually put the money up and go, thank you, we care about you. I got a little video to play, if you could play it, from the retreat.
Hi, I'm John Klingy-Smith. I'm here with my wife Maureen and 2 kids. This is our first time at the annual Firehouse Family Retreat. I didn't know much about the retreat or what to expect. The time with my family around fellow fire families of different agencies and positions has been amazing. The kids have been having a blast with the free time activities, and also the kids program set up both as a large group and on their age-specific breakouts. The breakout sessions for the adults have also been eye-opening. I was very skeptical at the beginning and closed off for the first part of the session. And once I realized that everything is here to have fun with no pressure or expectations to do anything, I had a blast. I highly encourage everyone to come to this amazing experience and give it a try. Thank you, Firehouse Family Retreat, for an amazing experience this weekend.
Yeah, great things do happen in Temecula, and, just a little idea has touched a lot of lives in the fire service. I want you to know that, just for context, 122 attended this retreat. 70 were adults and 52 were children, and they had an amazing time because of what you did. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. All right, I'm going to have Captain Durham come up. We've had a rash of media reports that are false, and I would like to have him address some of these
Absolutely.
issues.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, the city team, good evening. I just wanted to take a couple minutes to talk about the importance of social media, the ability to connect, but it also the strong ability to spread false information like wildfire. There was several reports of a home invasion robbery series occurring in the city of Temecula, and it's simply just not true. I have an internal notification policy in place. I am notified 24/7 of violent crime or things that are tying up law enforcement resources in the city. I don't get days off. I don't get vacations because of it, and I am aware, which in turn, I make you aware. I make the city manager's office aware. This is just not happening. Temecula is a safe place. There is no home invasion crew occurring. A crime like that would be just unheard of in this area, and also not tolerated. I will not tolerate it. There'd be so many law enforcement resources in that area to hold those people responsible. Now, it's impossible for me to know of every call of service that comes in, so I want everyone to know that I have a crime analyst that looks at data and looks at crime for a week. I get a weekly report, and we look at commonalities. And then I can take that data and give it to my special teams, or sometimes do a public safety announcement and see what's going on. And so part of that public safety announcement, I'll give you one now because there are commonalities in some of the crime that we are seeing in Temecula. So we have theft. Thefts are occurring right now, and it's a commonality because we are not securing our property. It is low-hanging fruit. It's crimes of opportunity. So I would encourage residents, and I know we're busy, and I know some are multitasking, whether it's the cell phone, getting the kids out of the car, but our cars don't get broken into when we don't leave valuables on the front seat. Our garages don't get broken into as easily if we make sure that they're closed before we go to bed. I would encourage everyone to lock their side gates. I would encourage folks to lock their electrical box so that there's not a power outage, seeing if people are home, or turning off your alarms. I would encourage people to have some type of alarm system. I'm not advocating a brand, but the most universal crime deterrent on the planet is a family dog. Bad guys don't like dogs in backyards. But ultimately, we just need to be mindful of the low-hanging fruit, that when we get busy, we provide opportunity for crime to occur. The other thing I'd like to ask is if anyone in the city sees something suspicious, a suspicious vehicle, someone walking around, please call. We will contact them. We'll find out what they're doing and why they're there. But I just want to stress the importance of social media. It's a great connection tool. It's a great way to share information. And it's also a great way to cause a whole bunch of chaos that's unwarranted. So if there's any questions, I will take them now.
So was there a shooting somewhere out in the county area, did I hear?
There was.
Okay,
There was. It wasn't in city limits.
okay. Yeah, and was there injury at
No.
all? Okay, it was just gunfire?
Gunfire,
Got it.
yes.
Okay, all right. That was one of the floating rumors out there that this happened in my neighborhood, and it's like, no. And so I just wanted to clarify exactly what that incident was.
And the post that you're referring to, Mr. Mayor, does not match the time frame of the actual shooting in the unincorporated area
Okay.
that I'm over.
Okay,
There are very two distinctive times and days
okay,
going on.
all right, thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, Madam City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
We do, Mr. Mayor. We have a few public comments on council items, actually non-agendized items. The first speaker is Bob Quaid, to be followed by Mark Swearingen. and each speaker is limited to 3 minutes.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Stewart and members of the council. My name is Bob Quaid. I'm a 20-year resident of the city of Temecula, and as a retired CPA and a former financial consultant for government agencies in California, I performed many user fee studies for cities larger than Temecula during the years of my career, so I know that which of I speak. I'm here again to address the recent user fee study approved by the council that evidenced 179 fees that had been charged above the actual cost of performing the services, which is tantamount to an illegal tax. At the March 26th council meeting, this council deadlocked on Councilmember Alexander's motion to form a subcommittee to research these fees more carefully, and my request to determine the estimated amount of the illegal taxes collected over the last 3 years as a starting point to determine the damages and encourage the council to do the right thing and refund any amounts over $100 to the injured parties. Mayor Stewart, you stated at that meeting that you were, quote, not a moral city councilman, but a fiduciary city councilman, and that it would not be prudent to spend the city's money on such an investigation. Let me inform you that as an elected official, you do have a fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interests of the residents of this city, and that includes acting with integrity and not dismissing this obligation by saying that we fix the problem moving forward, but have no intention of considering restitution for those that overpaid these fees in the past years. Restitution is defined as the act of giving back to a person something that was lost or stolen, or to pay money for the loss. For example, if the city were unknowingly purchased goods that were later proven to be stolen, it would have to make restitution. The same is true for the illegal taxes unknowingly collected. Please know that I will be making a public records request for the 179 fees paid over the last 3 years, and I will personally calculate the amount of any potential overpayment and present it back to the council for evaluation at a future date. Lastly, Councilmember Schwank, I may be Councilmember Alexander's campaign treasurer, which you pointed out, but my presence here is not politically motivated, as Jessica does not direct my steps or my conscience. Only my holy God of the Bible does. And I pray that this is true for all of you that sit on the council. Otherwise, the prayer that we start every council meeting with, asking for God's wisdom and discernment, would be a farce. Thank you.
The next speaker is Mark Swearingen, to be followed by Laurel Lamont.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Mark Swearingen. I've been here before. I've been here trying to talk about the Birdsall Soccer Park and trying to get more soccer opportunities for kids over the Adult Soccer League. However, I hadn't gotten much traction with that, but I'm a man of my word, and yesterday, Councilman Schwank brought an entourage that included Kevin Hawkins, Officer Pearson, Mrs. Russo's staff, and there was quite a large contingent that actually listened to my concerns, and I wanted to thank them for that. I appreciate the opportunity and the time that was submitted to look in the things that I was trying to get across. I'm still hopeful that I'll hear from Councilman Kalfas, Councilman Stewart, and I'm going to meet with Miss Alexander, and I invite anyone to come to meet when Miss Alexander comes to visit the Birdsall Soccer Park on I believe it's the 1st. I think that there are some concerns that could be laid out. I think I'm at step 2 of probably 5 right now with the city on coming to some sort of conclusion on this. The only disappointment that I had was it seemed to be, I was wondering, are they here for me or some sort of damage control? And is this a large contingent that's simply just to cover the 6? And unfortunately, I believe that was the case, and Mr. Hawkins made sure that he got a picture, and I wanted Mr. Thorson to know that no picture with me and the city staff should be used in any sort of pro-council or pro-political aspect. I was happy to take the picture to prove that they were there like they said they would be and did their duty, but that's the only negative thing that I had. I doubt that I've convinced them, but at least Councilman Schwank brought a contingent of folks to look into my issue. So I don't want to spend all of the council's time on my issue because I know right behind me is Laurel with an issue that's much bigger than mine. So I invite you all to pay attention robustly about the campaign that she's working on. Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Laurel Lamont, to be followed by the last speaker, Hannon Rickard.
Good evening.
Hi. All right, I'm Laurel Lamont, I represent Upward Community. And right now, this time, I'd like to address my tactics and a little bit of background on how I got here. 6 years of showing up here, and when I first showed up here, it was pretty soft. It was pretty meek. But 6 years of asking for things starts to weigh on your patience and your tolerance. It's not personal, Schwank. It's not. I do have a visceral reaction to politicians as a whole who act like mascots. And that seems to be a general behavior from politicians as a whole. All right, so I want to ask a question that hopefully you won't decide the Brown Act prevents you from answering. Before I came to City Council, before I got involved in my actions, who in city staff or City Council was going to look out for the affordable tenants, like the affordable tenants at Warehouse? Not until I came on the scene was it brought to the city's attention that illegal fees were being charged. Are you getting tired of me saying it? I just feel like we should publicly acknowledge it and then also answer whose responsibility it was to make sure that didn't happen or to rectify it when it did, because it was my involvement and Upward Community's involvement that rectified the issue, which then spun into me digging into all sorts of things and why aren't they getting done. Government as a whole, I know, Zach, you said we shouldn't be taking a hammer, but theoretically, I think people feel like we absolutely should be taking a hammer to government because we feel like it doesn't spend its money appropriately or fairly or transparently. So back to my question, who is responsible? Illegal parking fees, parking when community events took place and blocked residents from their residency, threats of eviction, abuse of power. Who today is responsible for making sure those things don't happen again? Who was responsible then? And why was it my job to make sure it was fixed? Thank you.
And the last speaker is Hannon Rickard.
Good evening.
I just want to, in honor of our founded Christian nation, known as by our enemies around 9/11, the Nation of the Cross, which we all know represents Christ. He was arrested about 2,000 years ago from last night, and which is the Jewish Passover. And just in honor of him, I just wanted to. I was going to sing it, but I understand I can't make a tune on this, and I don't blame y'all. but I just want to read the song. It's Holy, holy, holy is the God of Israel. Elders bow in worship as the angel voices swell. Fragrant clouds of incense swirl around your throne of grace. Lord, we bow in worship at the brilliance of your face. We cry, holy, holy, holy is the Lord. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord. And the next verse is Kodash, which is Hebrew for holy. Kodash, 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 or Kadosh, is the song that heaven sings. All creation praise him. Hallelujah, Elohim, which is another name for God in Hebrew. Come to reign forever, King of kings and Lord of lords. Lift your head, O Zion, open wide, you ancient doors, and cry. And just also want to say, I was listening to, I've been a Christian, but I've been looking into some of the Christian Hebrew roots. And I've been listening to a couple of rabbis, and there was interesting points that these rabbis would make about, we're put in this world. We don't even know where we were 100 years ago. I mean, we don't, but the perspective is, well, I'm out of time, but we need to understand that there's a purpose while we're here, but it's not for ourselves. It's for the one who put us here. And in a nutshell, I would say our greatest goal in this life is to be holy, which means set apart unto God, our Creator. And He's given us laws and principles that we know of the nature of creation and the divine love and love we should have for one another. And that was the last commandment, is to love one another as I have loved you. All right, God bless you all.
Mr. Mayor, that's the last of the non-agenda comments.
All right, so let's go on to city council reports, and we're going to start with me because we're going to start with the Sacramento trip. So all four of us went up to Sacramento to meet with our state legislatures, which, believe it or not, to build these relationships with our legislature face-to-face is super, super important, because if we send something up there like a report that a bill that we want to see killed or we want to support, the fact that we actually came there physically and took the time to meet with these legislators to push for that. Also, as far as funding sources, the state, they're in budget process right now. Of course, it's a very negative budget process, but there still could be opportunities for the city to gain state funding for specific projects that we're very big on as far as this city is concerned. So, and again, if that piece of paper comes up there with just a bunch of names from the city of Temecula, very easy to discard it. But when you're there physically looking that legislator right in the eyes and expressing how much we need this, that holds real value. So I just wanted to give my colleagues an opportunity to say anything about their Sacramento trip. Anything? Mel, start with you.
All right, no, I can agree with you. It was a great trip. I think it was very educational, but I think this trip was very important because we had the opportunity to create relationships with, for instance, Assemblywoman Kate Sanchez. We had the opportunity to meet with Kelly Ciarto, our senator, and it was just really good conversations to have an understanding of what's going on there in Sacramento, and also to just show face. So we're not just dropping off a piece of paper saying, here, this is our needs. It's creating those relations. And also, we always have classes that we're able to go to and learn different things and communicate and talk with other council members and staff. And I think that was really huge because we had the opportunity to talk about housing and transients and homelessness and what that looks like. And so it just sparks conversation. I had a great opportunity to talk to the city manager about some ideas that maybe we can bring to the city as well, and it's all because of the opportunity for us to go to Sacramento. So I'm glad for the first time I think everybody went, and it was really good. So it was great to be there.
You two said everything I was going to say, but I just want to say that was my first City Leadership Summit, and I too had a great time, and it was great to build those relationships with not only our Assemblywoman and Senator, but also with each other. You know, when we're in Temecula, we're in this little bubble, and we feel like Temecula's our world, but when you get out, it's nice to take a little breather from our everyday business of the city and get to know each other on a more personal level. So I just had a great time with my fellow colleagues here. And I do have to say that our city clerk was trying to be, other cities tried to poach her multiple times. So we still have our city clerk, which is nice, but it also reiterates how quality our staff is here. And you see that when you go to summits like this, where there's cities from all over the state. And you see their city clerk, you see their city manager, you see their city staff. And you can't help but compare your city staff to theirs. And I am very happy to say that our city staff is top notch. And I am happy that they weren't able to poach you away from us just yet. But I had a great time, and I'm looking forward to future city leadership summits. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I like that there's some themes here already, and so I too enjoyed the relationship building with state legislators and staff. Importantly, up there, staff up in Sacramento does a ton of work with you all. I think it was very good to build those relationships. There was a couple things that really stuck out to me, especially when we were meeting in some of the committee meetings on housing, on transportation, is just the breadth of experience that our city manager and our city clerk bring with them. And I think it's something that you can't overlook. And those relationships that we're talking about, we're just starting to foster. They've been fostering them for 25, 30 years, right? So those relationships are extremely important. It ties into just broader advocacy in general. When you are building relationships, you're building bridges, you're building connections. If you're a good advocate, you're really building the biggest tent you can possibly build, and you're trying to get as many people to buy into your vision, your idea as possible. And I think we're doing that. I think very happy with how the week turned out. The educational sessions were good, but again, it was those formal meetings, but it was also bumping into a senator on the way back into downtown and talking for a couple minutes, or seeing folks that we've seen before and connecting. And you're right, Mayor Pro Tem Kalfas, there was not only other cities, but there are future senators that were wanting our staff to leave and work for them. And I had to grab our staff and say, excuse us, but we're gonna move right on. And it does speak to what we do here in Temecula, and our image is carried on all the way up to Sacramento. So great trip overall. And I really appreciate the fact that we all went. It was the first time, and I've been going for 5-6 years now, and it was great to connect with you all.
All right. And I have a housing slide next, which is pretty exciting. So we have another affordable housing project that's going to go up for RFP right across Jefferson, where the new sports, if you look down at the bottom left corner, we're trying to put a massive sports park there. So this affordable housing project will have access to that. Should be a really, really cool sports park. So that's going to go out to bid, and hopefully we get between 50 and 70 more units, affordable housing units. So that's super exciting. And then Sunset Market is tomorrow night. So if you don't feel like cooking, come on down to the Sunset Market and have dinner and walk around and look at the cool items for sale. And then we have the Rod Run, which is not this Friday, but next Friday and Saturday. So cruise night is from 5 until 8. For me, it's the best night of the year. So it's my New Year's Eve, 4th of July, all wrapped up in one. but it's cool because you get to hear the cars run, and so that's what I enjoy. So, and then the show and shine is Saturday. So, and that's always well attended. So, if you feel like looking at old cars, not this weekend, next weekend. All right. Any other council reports? Mr.
I
Kemp?
do have one slide here. A couple weeks ago, the wife and I got to attend one of our favorite events of the year, as the mayor calls it, the Temecula Prom, which is put on by our Chamber of Commerce. And this one was the 58th annual and my second one. And if you're a local business in Temecula and you're not a part of our chamber, it is definitely a great opportunity to network and get out there and meet other local business owners. And then every year they put on this gala here, and they, I guess they support and they show off all the great things those businesses have done and all the awards given out. So it was a great time just networking with our local businesses and our local business leaders, and something we look forward to every year. And that was it, Mayor. Thank you.
Cool. Mr. Schwenk?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a couple slides. If we could put up the RTA microtransit slide first. So last week we had an opportunity to bring RTA staff down to Temecula. So it's Kristen Warsinski and Jennifer Nguyen, who's the planning director, down here to Temecula along with our city staff, myself and Councilmember Alexander. What we did is we essentially took a tour of Route 24, which is the RTA route that serves the city. If you haven't noticed, transit is changing. COVID did a number on a lot of things. Transit is one of them. So we're trying to figure out how to, sort of really change transit. A lot of car share, sort of like mobile on-demand stuff, is becoming extremely popular versus standing and waiting for the bus. So RTA has launched they call it Go Micro in Hemet San Jacinto, which is very similar to like an Uber or Lyft. We're wanting to bring that to Temecula. We're wanting to try to consolidate, work with Route 55, which is the Temecula trolley, and then Route 24 to make the system work for everyone and work more efficiently. This was a great opportunity for us to go out in the field, see firsthand, and really sort of brainstorm and talk. And this is just the beginning of this conversation of what transit's going to look like, not just in Temecula, but really regionally. And running transit in the suburbs is hard. We want to try to make it better, and we want to make it serve people in a more meaningful and efficient way. So that was a very good day on RTA. And then the next slide I have is the flag program, if we could put that up. So last year, as mayor, and if this slide doesn't come up, that's okay, I can talk to it. So last year as mayor, I started something. Every year, city council members are allotted $5,000. It's called council discretionary funding. We're able to use that money to fund nonprofits and impact our community in ways that we deem we see fit. So last year, we partnered with Michelle's Place and Home Depot, along with Troop 309, and we bought some American flags, and we wanted to make sure that the community had access to these. Really, this was sort of born out of seeing some tattered and torn flags around our community, and wanted to replace those with brand new flags. I'm happy to announce that I will be continuing this program for this year on our city's website. I believe it's under the city managers tab. There's an application where you can go on and anyone can request an American flag for free. And if it's not too far from my house, I wouldn't be opposed to coming over and helping you put it up. So go ahead and reach out. You can either email me or you can just go onto the city's website and you can request a flag and get it up for Memorial Day, and then obviously 4th of July, and then hopefully year round. So just something I want to continue this year.
Cool.
That's all for right now, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, my turn. So I've got 3 things that I just want to briefly talk about. They're actually all nonprofits within our community. If you can pull up this first slide, please. Perfect. So I just want to recognize Milvet. They are located in Marietta. However, they are so entrenched here within all the cities, especially here in Temecula, working with veterans and also troops that are overseas. So we had an opportunity to learn how to put care packages together. And being a former Marine, being overseas, there is nothing better than getting a package that you never expect to get. They had given us a list of what they want, their foods, all that fun stuff, and then you get to just put a great care package and be able to put a smile on some of these troops' faces that are really needing just a little love to be sent to them. So I just want to applaud Milvet for all they do. But I also want to let everybody know of a really cool way to be able to help out is they are having on June 15th, they are doing a military care packages over at the stadium for Lake Elsinore. And they're going to actually have some of the baseball players out there at the same time. So there's going to be over 200 people putting together boxes. If you and your family want to get out and volunteer, this is such a fun way to do it. My family and I went out and we just had a really great time and talking and writing letters to the veterans and thanking them. So that was my first one. Hats off again to Milvet. Great job for all you guys do. The next one is I had an opportunity to go to this, it's called the Dreams and the Dresses and Dreams Project. And this was an opportunity for local girls and girls within our valley that maybe they can't afford a prom dress. Maybe they're just in need of shoes and maybe to get their hair done and just to feel like a princess for a day. And so I just want to thank this organization. They've been doing this for years. They had about 50 girls. They even had, as you can see, Miss California come up and just be an inspiration to these women. She's actually a veteran, or no, she's actually in the military right now as an Air Force, in the Air Force. And so I just want to thank them for what they're doing. I've been with them for a couple of years to see what they're up to, and they really are really inspiring to these girls. So if you guys have any dresses that are left over in your closet that how many of us have grown out of, please send this down to them because they need dresses. Dawn does a fantastic job. They have hundreds of dresses for these girls, and it makes such a difference in their lives to just be able to go to prom and feel like a princess for a day. So there's one more. I just want to let everybody know on this weekend, hold on. There we go. There is a rally for prevention for child abuse, and it's for awareness. So they had contacted me. This is an organization that I've been working with as well to continue to allow people to know about what's going on in people's homes, in our neighborhoods with child abuse, to not let it be a stigma that we can't talk about. Let people know, again, if there's mental health issues, if there's issues within our community, we need to have that conversation. Allowing kids also to know that bad touching and certain things are not correct, and if they're getting abused, then we need to be able to help them. So please bring awareness. They're going to be setting up some booths for kids to come out and make pinwheels, wear blue, come on out, and just bring awareness to our community about the child abuse issues that are going on that can be prevented. So thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're off to the consent calendar. Number one is waive reading of titles and text of all ordinances, resolutions, included in the agenda. Number two, approve action minutes of April 9th, 2024. Number three, approve list of demands. Number four, approve revised city council protocol manual policy regarding requests for information and use of staff. Number five, adopt resolution supporting public health, public higher education within Southwest Riverside County and related funding at Mount San Jacinto College, Temecula campus at the request of subcommittee members Mayor Pro Tem Kalfas and City Council Member Schwenk. Number six, approve sponsorship and economic development funding agreement with Temecula Valley Wine and Balloon Festival Association for the Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Festival. Number seven, approve agreement with the Department of California Highway Patrol for construction zone enhanced enforcement program services for the I-15 congestion relief, PW 19-02. Number eight, set public hearing to approve solid waste and recycling rates for commercial customers for fiscal year 2024-25. Number nine, approve plans and specifications and authorize solicitation of construction bids for Rainbow Canyon Pavement Rehabilitation Project, PW 22-15. Number 10, approve plans and specifications and authorize solicitation of construction bids for sidewalks, Old Town improvements, south side of 6th Street, Old Town Front Street to Mercedes, PW 22-16. Number 11, accept improvements and file notice of completion for sidewalks, Old Town improvements, additional street lights on Moreno Road and Mercedes, PW 2217. And that is it. I'm going to not poll 9, but I'm going to ask to, let's go ahead and vote on the consent calendar. And then afterwards, I'm going to have Public Works talk about number 9. So let's go ahead and vote. I'll accept the motion.
I'll move consent.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Please vote. All right, that passes 4-0. So this is really a good project, and it's kind of a important project, especially for a lot of commuters who use Rainbow Canyon as a way to kind of cut off a big section of the freeway. But it's also, we have a partner in this project that needs to be highlighted. So Public Works Director, take it away.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Stewart, and good evening, council members. So as you mentioned, the project before you is the pavement rehab or repaving of Rainbow Canyon Road, and that is repave that road the full width, starting at Pechanga Parkway and going to the southern city limits. And as you can see on the slide, our total project budget is $2.9 million. And as you mentioned, a large majority of that budget is funded through our intergovernmental agreement with the Pechanga tribe. So we definitely like to thank the tribe for the great partnership with the city on this project and many other projects here in the city. So our schedule for the project is we'll be advertising for bids in the month of May. Plan to have a contract on a agenda for a city council meeting in July and then start construction soon thereafter. Our plan is to construct this project during primarily the summer months and be done by October of this year. It's a little under 3 miles total length between Pechanga Parkway and the southern city limits, or approximately 477,000 square feet. Next slide, please. So we've broken the project down into 2 segments. The first segment is from Pechanga Parkway to the Temecula Creekian Golf Course, and that's the segment that runs through the residential neighborhood. Our plan is to have the construction of that segment done during daytime hours, so the work hours would be 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and we would be keeping the road open at all times, but with traffic control in place in the work zone. So that'd be the first phase of the project. The second phase of the project, if you can go to the next slide, that would be from the golf course to the southern city limits. And due to the narrowness of the road in that section, the plan would be to have that work done during the nighttime hours, and we would be completely closing the road during the construction time. So between 8 p.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday during the night, the road would be closed while the work would be taking place in that section. And again, we anticipate that this project is 2 to 3 months worth of construction overall, and broken down into those 2 segments, and then with the work hours that I described. So as the mayor mentioned, it's an important project. It's long overdue, and we're happy to be able to move forward and proceed with construction on this project. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Pat, just one point of clarification. I think it's 8 p.m. to 5 a.m.
You're right. Excuse me. Yeah, that would be
that'd be difficult to do. Yeah.
The nighttime during that. Yeah, and again, that would be the road would be completely closed and detoured over onto the freeway during those hours.
Any questions? Yeah.
No questions, just a quick comment. I'm really thankful that we pulled this item and just didn't pull it, but we're making comments on this item quickly. Unless someone clicked on the project description, they wouldn't know where the funding came from. $2.5 million is going to fund this project from our community partners and our neighbors in Pechanga. So I just want to make sure, I mean, you thank them, and I want to thank them as well. We appreciate the partnership.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, a great project, very much needed. So, all right, I will adjourn this meeting in favor of the community services meeting.
All right, thank you very much, Mayor Stewart. I'll now convene the Temecula Community Services District meeting. Madam City Clerk, please note that we are all still here. Do we have any comments on non-agenda items?
We do, Mr. Mayor. We have one public comment on a non-agenda item, and the speaker is Mark Swearingen, and you have 3 minutes.
All right, welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity to say something on the agenda. I went to the meeting today of the Parks and Rec Community Services Subcommittee with the hope of trying to move my issues out of the city council to the subcommittee so that I could work on trying to get my soccer park issue resolved. And I was highly disappointed in the outcomes that happened with the soccer park. What I saw was some good work. I saw probably $1 million worth of salary discussing Vorberg to Dyson as changing the park. But really what happened was I looked at what was being discussed. We were talking about moving some skate parks into Long Canyon Park as well as Wolf Creek Park. And I didn't say anything. I sat through the whole meeting, although I objected to it. And I looked at the State of the City address for 2024. I bought $80 ticket. And I was researching it. What could it be? And I looked at last year's 2023 State of the City address. And I saw a lot of skate park stuff from Mr. Schwank, who's been on the council for 6 years. And then I correlated that with what I'm seeing that the city is putting forth. We're putting forth pickleball courts, removing soccer parks, and putting skate parks in. So the question that I was left with is who are we serving? Are we serving the council or are we serving the citizens? So at that meeting, at the end, I spoke up and I said, I don't know anything about this project. I live in Wolf Creek. Why does no one know that you're going to drop $500,000 on a park with noise issues? It could be a great park for a skate park, but I would like to know about it. And I was met with Mr. Adams' comment that I don't know. There's a lot that I don't know, right? So that's true. I was there to find out things. But the next time that the great unwashed comes to you, when I'm looking at all that salary that you're making, I expect some service. I am not going to cater to the elites. So this is me asking for more information. I'm going to be here after the meeting, and you can tell me and enlighten me.
Your time's up. Thank you. All
There
right,
are
Madam
no
City
other
Clerk?
comments.
No more? Okay, thank you so much. All right, we'll move on to our consent calendar. We have one item. Item 12 is approve action minutes of April 9th, 2024.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Let us vote.
I'm sorry, President, who was the first and who was the second?
I was the first, second.
Okay, got it. Councilmember Alexander, is that an aye?
Okay, that motion passes 4-0. Thank you. All right, is there a director's report this evening?
Nothing this evening, Mr.
All
President.
right, Mr. General Manager, anything?
Nothing tonight.
All right, directors, anything? All right, I do have one quick slide. If we could put up TCSD Expo slide. So we have Temecula Community Services District Expo, which we used to do, and we kind of got away from it for a while. In the last few years, we've been doing it. It's been, the community's really enjoyed it. It is a way for you to come out and learn about all the exciting classes and the programs offered by our Temecula Community Services District. It's this Saturday, April 27th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And you can obviously meet the class instructors and just learn a lot about what's going on and all the wonderful things in our guide to leisure activities. So I hope everyone takes advantage of coming out to that. And I believe that's it. Yeah, that's it. I'll say a little bit about the meeting we had today. We did have a subcommittee meeting. Everything we do in that subcommittee meeting is driven by community surveys. It's driven by quality of life master plans. We engage the community in an extremely meaningful way. Part of the reason the pickleball is going to the pit is because the folks in Wolf Creek spoke up and they didn't want it there. And for someone to come in and call pickleball players just a bunch of old people is insulting. They're a valuable part of our community, and we're going to service them. And also valuable is the skate park community. And they have been advocating for a skate park for years. And they are very involved in the community. And we're going to bounce some of these investments off of them. And I look forward to their continued involvement, as well as our pickleball partners, because we all love pickleball. All right, that's it. With that, we'll go ahead and move to adjournment, and I will adjourn this back to the city council meeting.
All right, so I will open the Temecula Public Financing Authority. Madam City Clerk, please note we're all still here. Are there any public comments?
Yes, there is one public comment on a non-agendized item, and the speaker is Laurel Lamont. You have 3 minutes, Ms. Lamont.
Okay, I want to quote Jon Stewart. What's crazy is thinking that we're the ones, as voters, who must silence concerns and criticisms. It is the representative's job to assuage concerns, not the voter's job not to mention them. If you are offended by the criticisms, if you feel bullied, then you shouldn't be a representative, a public servant. Full stop. Fiduciary responsibilities. I'll tell you what it's not. It's not to serve a city manager. A fiduciary responsibility is not equate to just rubber stamping everything that comes across your desk that a city manager or city staff has determined is the right thing to do. If your job is to pass policy, then what are we doing to create new ways of doing things? When RDAs were on the table, we were just paying for more of the same. We're getting more affordable housing over on the other side of Jefferson. But affordable housing isn't housing the workforce because we make too much. So what are you doing to reevaluate HUD, to look at new ways of doing things, new ideas? When the state gives you boatloads of money with very little to no red tape to solve a housing crisis and produce more affordable housing, and city staff isn't coming up with new ideas with boatloads of money, then why isn't city council? Who? The Brown Act does not prevent you from asking the question I asked earlier. Who is looking out for? You haven't answered the question I asked. Did you forget it? Who is looking out for the tenants who are being ripped off? Because they didn't get back all their money because of statute of limitations. Because somebody wasn't doing their job, or is there a job to look out for these people? Please answer these questions, and maybe the public will understand why I come so extremely frustrated and agitated by the lack of attention to this matter. Let's do better. Let's create new and different ways of solving these problems.
Mr. Mayor, that's the last public comment on non-agendized items.
All right. So item number 13 is approve action minutes of April 9th, 2024.
Move to approval.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Please vote. All right, that passes 4-0.
Councilmember Alexander, is that a yes? Yeah. Okay. Passes unanimously, Mr. Mayor.
All right. So item number 14 is a public hearing. Oh, I'll reconvene the Temecula City Council meeting to go into a public hearing, which item number 14 is approved fiscal year 2025 Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan. So Mr. Luke, take it away.
Yes, as we have every year, we have Frank, our consultant, who's a very capable administrator of our CDBG program, and I'm going to turn it over to him.
Thank you, Luke. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight I'm here to discuss the 2024-2025 Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan. Typically, every year, I'll start off with a little bit of a background of the CDBG specific program. CDBG is a federally funded program that strives to create the development of viable and urban communities through three main objectives, and their national objectives are promoting, preserving, and assisting in the development of affordable housing, improving and expanding public infrastructure and facilities, and also providing and improving access to public services. CDBG activities must meet one of these three national objectives listed on your screen. And the funding in the city of Temecula is typically goes towards a lot of to meet these national objectives. In 2012, City Council adopted its first consolidated annual action plan and became an entitlement city to receive those funds through HUD. Also received the authorization to expedite its strategies through annual action plans that are carried out from a consolidated plan that covers 5 years, and then there's individual annual reports, which we're discussing this evening. Sorry about that. Like I mentioned, the Temecula program, CDBG program, is guided by those two main documents, first one being that consolidated plan, and then the annual action plan. Like I mentioned, it's a consolidated plan is a 5-year plan that is used as the general framework for the city to assess its housing community development needs and to identify and prioritize projects for its funding allocation that it receives yearly. It also includes a market analysis, needs assessment, strategic plan, assessment for fair housing, and a robust outreach through service through its community residents. The city is now in its current third, the 2024-2025 would be the third consolidated plan, annual action plan of that consolidated plan cycle. So about halfway through that next cycle that we're currently in that covers 2022 through 2026. Each program year that is funded through CDBG and the projects that are identified and applied for on a yearly basis through the city's Notice of Funding Availability, or what we refer to as the NOFA, must meet at least one of the consolidated plan goals that are identified through the city's participation through that 5-year cycle. During that cycle, the city has identified 6 priorities that are on your screen: to improve neighborhoods, public facilities, and infrastructure, to promote development of affordable housing, preserve the existing housing stock, provide public services for low and moderate income residents, and also to provide public services for residents with special needs, including seniors and veterans. Public services for homeless, for those that are homeless and those that are at risk of homeless as well. Next, I'll talk about the 2024-2025 Annual Action Plan. So while that consolidated plan provides that overarching framework, the CDBG goals and activities must subsequently be identified through our annual action plan yearly, which also intends to utilize all allocated funds to address national objectives and priority needs that were identified in that consolidated plan. HUD does require extensive community outreach during not only just the annual action plan, but also the consolidated plan. So during this year's annual NOFA, the application period started in November of 2023 with the Notice of Funding Availability. Staff held 2 technical workshops in the month of December to provide technical assistance about the CDBG program and also to assist applicants on the application process. And staff also met with Finance Committee consisting of Mayor James Stewart and Mayor Pro Tem Brendan Kalfas for funding recommendations in the month of February, which are reflected in the draft annual action plan. The city did also and must comply with the HUD requirement to have a 30-day public review period. And tonight we are having the secondary requirement of opening a public hearing for any public comment. On your screen, you'll see the city's anticipated allocation of the CDBG funds of $594,271 for the 24-25 program year. And again, I say anticipated funds, as HUD has not yet released the official allocation to any of its grantees at the current moment. However, once received, if different from the anticipated amount that's in the draft action plan, each funded activity will be adjusted proportionally. That decision was also decided during the Finance Subcommittee back in February. The allocation is broken up into 3 areas. The city may spend up to 20% of the allocation, which is approximately $118,000 on administrative costs. The maximum of 15%, which would equate to about $89,000 to be allocated towards public services. And the remainder, roughly about $412,000, can be allocated towards capital improvement projects. Again, the city does go through a yearly NOFA process where not only just for nonprofits, but also for capital improvement projects as well. And those projects and programs are evaluated on a yearly basis for program eligibility and determination of meeting a national objective. This year, the city did receive 11 public service funding requests. And as I mentioned, as a reminder, $89,140, or the equivalent of 15% of the yearly allocation, may be allocated towards public services. The CDBG funds are entirely being spent on low and moderate income residents of your city of Temecula. The slide demonstrates the Finance Subcommittee's recommendations that were included into the 24-25 public service category and that are identified in the action plan up for approval tonight. The remainder of the CDBG allocation, like we mentioned, was approximately $412,000, can be used towards capital improvement projects. Projects under that CIP category fall under priority needs of improving neighborhoods, public facilities, and infrastructure. The city's Public Works Department will focus on those priorities that have been identified in the city's ADA transition plan. Staff recommends that City Council open up the public hearing for any public comments that would be then summarized and included into the final plan that would be submitted to HUD. And then also to approve a resolution for the 2025 annual action plan as its application to the Department of Housing and Urban Development for those community development block grant funds. This does conclude my presentation. Community development staff and myself are available for any questions.
Any questions? Nope. All right, then I think I'm free to open okay. I will open the public hearing. Are there any speaker slips?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have one speaker,
Okay.
and it is Sharon Morris on this particular item.
Okay.
Ms. Morris, you actually have 5 minutes, given that it's a public hearing item.
I won't need 5 minutes. I'll be quick. You all know who I am. I've met you all before. Voices for Children is the court-appointed special advocate, or CASA, program for Riverside County. Last year, we served over 520 children in the county with volunteer advocates who've been appointed by one of the 5 juvenile court judges. These children have been abused, neglected, or abandoned and find themselves in foster care. It costs us $2,000 to support one CASA for a year, and so far this year we have served 11 children from the city of Temecula. We have 2 on our wait list who are waiting for a match for a CASA. And the funds that we've been recommended will help us to serve 4 children from Temecula. So I'm here to say thank you and to share just very quickly a story about 2 of those children that we've served. Patricia is the name of the CASA. And we were talking a little bit earlier about health and how health makes such a difference in our lives, of course, in every facet of our lives. And CASAs advocate in many, many ways, but Patricia really did this in the role of healthcare. She had been making sure that they were kept up to date with their medical appointments and their vaccinations. Her advocacy extended to securing that the foster parent had their health cards, which really demonstrated a level of commitment that directly influenced their access to essential healthcare services. It didn't matter how many phone calls Patricia had to make or how much time she had to spend between the caregiver and the social worker. She made sure their proper documents were found and were given to the caregiver. She also helped with one of the boys' vision needs. She made sure that they had optician appointments, and then she made sure that there was the funding for the glasses. One of the brothers was especially struggling with his schoolwork, and his teacher said, I think it's because he can't see the chalkboard. So having Patricia there really, really did help, not just in health, but as we said, it touches so many facets. Her focus on securing the boys' medical well-being underscores the invaluable impact that she has made on their lives and CASAs make on the lives of children in foster care. And I'll wrap up also by sharing something we're very proud of, and I mention it because you had mentioned it earlier, that we are also very honored to be the court-appointed special advocate program for the Pechanga tribe of Indians here in Temecula as well, which is, as you all know, a great honor for them to have come to us and asked us to help with the sovereign nation and the children that are removed by the tribe. So thank you again so very much. By voting yes, you help children in care in Temecula. Thank you again.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Mr. Mayor, that concludes our public comments, and you're welcome to close the public hearing.
All right, I will close the public hearing. And is there council discussion, or does somebody want to make a motion?
I just want to make one comment, Mayor, if that's okay.
Sure.
On that document, you may have seen that the Ponds for Veterans didn't get any allocation from us this year, but there was no representative from that nonprofit in attendance. So we would love to hear your story for that nonprofit if you're listening. We'd love to see you come out next year, and I know the city would love to work with you. But if you're wondering why there was no allocation for that nonprofit, that was the reason.
Okay.
That was it. Thank you.
Did you?
I was like, what do you guys have against canine support teams and dogs? What did they do to you? They're puppies. They're beautiful. No, it's hard. I know you guys got a lot of work in there. I just wanted to make just for the record, and I suspect this has to do with with like federal guidelines and language, but in there, in the CDBG, part of there's 3 bullet points, and one is benefit low and moderate income persons. And then the second one is aid in the prevention or elimination of slums and blight. And I just had a little issue with the word slum in our city. They do not exist in our city. And I had a hard time with that, and I would suspect that it has to do with the federal language, and we need to follow that. Totally understand it. But I just really need to go there. We don't have slums in our city. So that's all.
Okay.
And happy to support this.
All right. You want to make the motion?
I'll move the item, and thank you for coming.
And seconded by Jessica. All right, please vote. All right, that passes 4-0. So off to item number 15, receive and file presentation for the Quality of Life Master Plan website and provide general recommendations regarding the same. Mr. Luke again.
Again, I'm going to turn it over to Assistant Director of Community Development, Matt Peters.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. This is a receive and file presentation on the Quality of Life Master Plan website. And for those watching at home, you can go to that website. It's temeculaca.gov/QLMP. So some background, the QLMP 2040 is a visionary document. It expresses the aspirations, ideals, and strategic priorities of the city and the community, and it was adopted in November of 2022. There's a screenshot of the homepage at the very top of this slide, and you can see the 7 core values circled in red. Each of those contributes to the overall quality of life in the city of Temecula, and city departments maintain performance indicators based on the core values. The annual operating budget and the capital improvement projects are evaluated for their adherence to the core values. As for the QLMP website, basically it's a digital version of the document. Each of the core values has a designated page, and on each page there's indicators measuring progress, there's goals and objectives, there's a list of accomplishments, and then in addition there's the Citizens 20-year priority timeline highlighted on the website. So it's a community resource to see what we've done, what we're doing, and where we're going. Before coming before the City Council, I visited all of the commissions. We had a good discussion. On the QLMP website, there was talk about timelines and projects, and I did receive some feedback as to how residents or visitors to the page can ask questions or give us suggestions. So we made some modifications to the website based on that feedback. And with that, I will end with this slide, which is basically the homepage of the QLMP website, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, anybody have any questions? No, another good job. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, so items for future city council agendas. Do we have anything? All right, let's move on to the city manager report.
Nothing further tonight, Mr. Mayor.
All right, city attorney?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, in closed session tonight, we had two discussions regarding real property matters. On the Hoff parcel near the I-15 freeway south of French Valley Parkway, the council, by a vote of 4-0, authorized the fair market value and an offer to be made to the property owner whose property is on the open market. And then with respect to the property on Business Park Drive, the council worked on the fair market value and authorized special appraisal and testing of the property, also by a vote of 4-0. No other action to report.
All right, thank you. That being said, we are adjourned.